Alright, so now that we're done rocking out and looking at the expo, we're back home. It was fun. It's the next day. Had to go to sleep, and now I want to talk about the stuff that I actually got from the expo. More than actual product, I got good memories. What was really great about that expo is I would say even at a Comic-Con or at a concert, people are in a good mood and they're ready to party and they're ready to have fun, but it's still very much like my group's right here, my group's right here, not a lot of talking. What was really cool about the Retro Expo is I think everybody was really chomping at the bit to have the opportunity to talk about something that they love so much to just anybody walking by. I hadn't had so many conversations with just so many likable strangers in a very, very long time, and it was really, really great. It was really, really cool. The event was well organized. The way that the layout was, it flowed very easily. It wasn't hard to get from one point to another. Once we were walking around and we knew the things that we wanted to buy, because we kind of priced and then we looked, which don't do that because a lot of that stuff we went back for was gone, but once we knew that we wanted to go back to a certain booth, it was very easy to navigate the floor. They had it set up almost like a Wonderland arcade back in the day that had all the free arcades. It wasn't just one or two free arcades. It was a gigantic assortment of arcades, and as you saw in the video. So let's just talk real quick about what we actually settled on. We kind of came across this on the cuff, so I didn't have as much money as I wish I would have. If the next one we will, but we've got some goodies, so I want to go through that. Oh, first, the really cool thing was obviously I love retro, and I kind of talk about a lot of retro stuff on my channel. So Pat the NES Punk, he's a really cool channel, and I'm a big fan of his podcast too. And he was there, and he signed my Superboy. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, stop right there.
There's the Superboy, and there's his signature. Dude was really approachable, really nice. Was happy to do it. Kind of figured like if I'm going to go and ask him to sign something, I should probably buy something. So at his table, he had for $14 a Game Boy Advance. And this came out in 2001, which was the year that I went into the military. And I settled on, I went the route of PlayStation and their handhelds. They didn't have a handheld at the time, but I was just really invested in PlayStation over Nintendo. I think everybody kind of made that split. When the GameCube came out and the PlayStation came out, you either went one way or you went the other. Or you were extremely blessed and you got to do both, but I wasn't. I went with the PlayStation. So the Game Boy Advance was something that passed me by because I was like, why do I want a handheld if I have my PlayStation that I can play? It might have been the PlayStation 2. Was that 2001 movie? Yeah, it was. It was the PlayStation 2. But like I said, that's what I was into. So I knew this existed, and when I saw it back then, I kind of picked it up, and I thought it was just really a mass-produced toy. It just, the way that it looked, just didn't really have the feel of the Game Boy. It didn't have the weight of the Game Boy, and I hadn't really been into the Game Boy Color and stuff. But I'm really glad that I picked it up now. Now there's so many games for it, and it's been out for so long that, let's see what I got here. Make sure I don't knock stuff over. We've got Need for Speed. I checked that out. It was pretty cool, and this is for the Game Boy Advance, and that was 50 cents. It was cool. There was just like little boxes just full of like Game Boy titles after Game Boy titles that were like 50 cents, $2. Let's see. So Need for Speed. Tried that out. I thought it was pretty fun. It's got a story to it, which I didn't think they'd really be able to do a driving game and a story, and they did. And then Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder, paid $1. It's not worth the buck. And then the Tony Hawk's Underground, $2.50, totally worth it. This was cool. It's kind of like a skate or die top-down look, but you have a lot of the tricks, you have the little balance bar, you have all the stuff that really kind of made Tony Hawk on the PlayStation awesome. And it had all that on the Game Boy Advance. And one thing I didn't know was I can play my original Game Boy. As you can see, I've got Star Wars in there for the original Game Boy. and it'll also play Game Boy Color. So I have a Game Boy Color right here. I actually have two of them, but it's cool to kind of have everything in one. And yeah, I'm really glad that I picked this up at the expo. It was pretty cool. What else did we get? What other goodies did we get? All right. So we were going in. All of these consoles that you see, they're mine. You know, like the Sega was something I got as a kid. The Vectrex was something that I got as a kid. And my girlfriend, she plays some games with me, but I didn't know that she was into... This is what she had back in the day, which was the Nintendo GameCube. We were talking about that on the way there. I wasn't really sure like what we were going to invest in, but we decided on finding a GameCube for her. And that's what we got, Nintendo GameCube. That was actually $35. And it's the special edition. It's right over here if you want to come and look. Don't mind the mess. But it's the nice silver edition. I played it last night. She played it last night. We had some fun. The games that we picked up for it is Turok. Very cool. I didn't know that this was pretty much, it's like Halo. I mean, they basically had like a Halo title that I don't know if they didn't want to do commercials or they didn't want to compete head on with the PlayStation or the Xbox like the Evolution Evolved, that first Halo. But this should have been, I should have heard about this and I would have bought one of these. Yabba yabba. And then we got Spyro, The Legend of Spyro. She picked this one out for her. I think she's gonna like it. It looks like fun. Also, on the GameCube, I can't wait because I knew the whole time that they had redone the Resident Evil, like they did the graphical upgrade and everything like that. And I cannot wait to put that little disc in here and play it. It's gonna be awesome. And
We would have picked it up yesterday, but the only place who had it wanted like $100 for the game.
yeah, they did. They want $150 for a Vectrex too, but that's okay. I still got my broken one. I love it. What was really cool was being able to... I got my Superboy. I knew I wanted to pick up a Super Nintendo title. I didn't want to find something rare. I just knew that by the prices of everything there, they're like $3, $4 for, you know, like Mortal Kombat 2 and a whole strew of other titles that I guess weren't popular. But to me, I love Mortal Kombat. Some people say, and I think it's very wrong of them to do so, is to say that it's just a clone of Street Fighter. It is not a clone of Street Fighter. What you have is it's not a clone of Street Fighter. The first couple of times that I came up to the Mortal Kombat booth, I had been playing Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo. I had never seen anything like this. I remember the noises. I remember how it was. I watched horror. My dad let me watch horror movies as a kid, and I remember thinking, like, this is that kind of intense action. This is cool. Like, get over here. Like, yelling blood, fatalities. Like, it was something completely in its own genre. It wasn't trying to copy anybody. It was saying, we'll be a fighting game, but we're going to be our own fighting game. And I do have that review for this. I've been playing this for a while. I keep sitting here, putting it in my Superboy, looking up the fatalities, and having a blast with Mortal Kombat 1. So I picked up Mortal Kombat 2, and it's so much better. Look at this. This will be fun. This is backlit. I can't do it with the Game Boy Advance because it's not backlit, and I don't think you'll be able to see it. But first, here. Look at just the instant upgrade from the titles that they did. I mean, what about that? What about the fact that the second one came out? How many Street Fighter 2s are Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter Super Turbo Turbo Edition? Like, that's not an upgrade. That's just, what is that? So here you have the first one, first introduction of Goro, and you have a very cool fighting system. I'm good at it. I mean, if you're not good at it, take the time to get good at it before you say that it sucks. Anybody that says Mortal Kombat sucks and they can't get past the first guy, that means that they can't take the time to actually get past the first guy, so your opinion's null and void to me. So here's just the first menu. Mortal Kombat, and you can kind of see the graphics and everything like that. I'm not going to go through a fight. I just want to get to show. When we get to the second one, you'll see that it's all kind of laid out the same, but not the same. Better. Improved. So here's Mortal Kombat 1. It looks good. But there's not any blood. And it's like all the moves work. You have your sweeps. You have strategy that you can deploy to make the game fun and winnable. So there's that one. And look at how instantly this series goes, well, we're not just going to do the same thing again. We're going to make sure that it's the same experience almost, but better. Better in every way. This one needs a little love. Just a little bit of love. It is still Super Nintendo, and it is an old title. I was playing it earlier. I know it works. If you can't handle doing that, don't bother retro gaming, because you're going to do that a lot. So here's Mortal Kombat 2. Paid like $4 for it?
$3.
Now look at that. You got a nice intro. Graphics. Just rock out to that for a moment. Look at that. Whole new choices. You can tell that the fighters are a lot more detailed. You got Sub-Zero, you got everybody. And then when you actually get to the levels, they're new levels. I mean, they still have the same totem pole, work your way up to the main dude. But all the backgrounds are different. Such a good game. Huge thumbs up for Mortal Kombat 2. If you have your Super Nintendo that you picked up for like $25, or you have one up in your attic or whatever, I highly suggest go dust it off, hit up eBay or one of these retro things, and start picking up the titles that just you know off the top of your head. You're walking by going, oh, SimCity, that's awesome. Pop that in, and you're still having fun. You're having that same fun. It's not diminished. Like for me, when I got to the Expo, I just always thought that if I ever touched an Atari or I ever played an Amiga, that I just wouldn't get it. That it would be this kind of like so old and dinosaur experience that it's like, yeah, it's cool to play with this, but I'm not intrigued. I didn't kick any of those games butts on the Atari. There was one with a spaceship that I couldn't even hold the controller right, so you're supposed to like push the joystick up to hit the asteroid coming up, and then to the right for the asteroid to the right. I wasn't even holding it right with the button because I didn't even know which way to hold an Atari joystick, because I didn't have an Atari. I had my Vectrex. And I thought that was kind of cool. It took me a minute to be like, wow, I've got to actually learn how to play this game. It's not as easy as I assumed. And that was a welcome surprise. So it was a day of retro gaming fun. Everybody was in such a great mood. It was Sunday. We picked to hit it right at Sunday when it opened. I'm not that great with crowds and stuff like that. And luckily, this crowd was so nice, it wasn't a deal for me whatsoever. It was very calm, very comfortable. And I highly suggest that you pick up a Sega and you pick up a Nintendo and you have some retro fun of your own. So I'm Jake, and I've had a great time doing this whole thing, and this is probably my most extensive video so far, so I really hope that you hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and leave a comment, and let's talk about some retro video gaming. Thank you. Bye.